Yo, what's going on? It's the NOC, the Nerds of Color, and we are back with another ShoPowSho. ShoPowSho 50, y'all. Yes, sir. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, and I'm back with the Ates, the amazing Ates, the Dinaguanda Destroyers, the Sisik Supremes. Yeah. I'm just so hyped right now. I didn't even give y'all all my little titles because I'm just hyped. What's up, ladies? Kataphorric, Viva, Valentina. How y'all doing, man?
Happy to be here.
Episode 50. Yo, I can't. I was getting emo earlier. Y'all, for real. I was like crying in the car, thinking about everything. And then especially with our special guest today, because I think their track is like what we are in regards to like why we wanted to do the show and pride in ourselves. So I'm so hyped for them. But man, how y'all doing, man? How y'all living?
Doing great. I'm so excited for our show today and all of our guests. A ton of
yeah. Represent.
For our listeners, we were all wearing matching shirts.
Hell yeah. Yes, so hype. So let's tell them who we have coming today. She already made a sneak peek appearance for one of them. Shout out to my boy Derek Basco of the Basco fam, the fabulous Filipino brothers. Ella J, y'all. Ella J Basco. Yeah, she made like a little cameo. I put it at the very end of the episode. But you know her as Batgirl, Cassandra Cain on Birds of Prey. You know her as a musician. She dropped some amazing singles on her YouTube channel. And she has this single that we're going to celebrate today with Ruby Ibarra, one of my other favorite rappers that is out in the game. She's actually my favorite Filipino rapper right now. Let me just even take off the Filipino, just rapper right now. She's killing it. I'm blasting her music as well as Ella's. They make me feel good. And they have this track called Gold, which celebrates us. And like I said, is what ShoPowSho is all about. Loving yourself, repping yourself, being proud of who you are, where you came from, despite all the challenges and what the world and society tries to do to you and change you in regards to naming, body image, all of that. So we're also going to have the crew behind it. Leslie Alejandro, the director, and also I think some other people. I'm not sure all who's going to be on. I know they're going to be listening. So We'll see when they come on, who else is going to be here. But I'm hyped for this one, y'all. Episode 50, y'all. Tina, Kat, yo. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I don't know what to do with myself, y'all.
Well, what better to celebrate on our 50th episode than Pride? So.
Hell yeah, I love it. So y'all, here we go. Getting ready to bring them in. Ruby Ibarra, Ella J Basco, Leslie Alejandro, and others, and I'll bring their names in when I know who they are once they come in. So here we go. Boom.
I'm dipped in gold, and I know that I'll break the mold. When you learn to love your true reflection, yeah, then you'll always be rich with a gold complexion.
Yo, it's the NOC, the Nerds of Color ShoPowSho, episode 50, y'all. Kuya P. I'm gonna bring everybody up on the screen. Here we go, the amazing Ates, Kataphorric and Viva Valentina. I've got Ella J Basco, Ruby Ibarra, Leslie Alejandro. We repping gold right now, y'all. Here we go, episode 50. I'm gonna throw it to the Ates to start us off. I'm just so proud. I'm just gonna be quiet now because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with myself right now. Let's go. Let's do this.
Thank you so much for joining us and start right off the bat. Gold. Tell us. Describe the project as if we've never seen it. We totally have, and we love it. But
Ella J.
Yeah, so Gold is a song that me and my brother Daryl wrote, and we wanted to make a song that empowers specifically the Pinay community, but also just women of color in general. And so we wrote the song, we released it, and then we wanted to make a music video. So I asked my aunt, Auntie Leslie, to be a part of the project and direct it, and she had some amazing ideas, and we pulled in Ruby to feature in the song and in the music video as well. So yeah, it's really just a whole project that empowers women of color and ethnic women in general. Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely. Great message. Ruby, how did you get involved with the project? What were your thoughts coming in?
I think it was around late summer of last year when Ella J first reached out to me via email. She told me that she had a track in mind that she would love to have me feature on. And I think I actually got around to recording it around October of last year when she sent me a draft. And I remember thinking, first of all, this is coming from Ella J Basco. Of course, I'm down to collab. Of course, I want to hop on this track. She's done such amazing things, not just in her films, but in music. And I'm always going to champion Ella J. I think that, she's such a great role model for the next generation of women of color. And when I first heard the track, I was just in complete amazement of the message that was in the lyrics. I think, oftentimes we hear these pop songs and we're drawn to the melody or to the beat, and this song had all of that. But I think ultimately what really drew me to the track was the message of celebrating who you are. And those are definitely aligned with, my beliefs and things that I also want to showcase in my own work that I've done. And so for me, it was just a no-brainer to collab with Ella. She had the message, she had the music, and I'm a fan of her. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
Awesome. So they bring the concept to you. Leslie, what were your thoughts kind of right off the bat, and how did that process kind of take over?
So yeah, Ella had showed me the song and I fell in love with it automatically and resonated with it as well, because I'm a generation above her, so maybe a couple generations above her. And so I felt that I remember being her age and feeling the way she felt and in what she talks about, and the fact that she's still talking about it now in this generation. I felt that it was so important because we didn't have anybody like Ella J or Ruby back then when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. And I was just really excited to jump on board. She said she wanted to do a period piece, and it really kind of, I took it back to kind of this era in the 50s where our people were definitely not appreciated and definitely discriminated against. And so I thought that it would be kind of a cool contrast to be able to put her in this position of what we were through colonialism taught to how we should see ourselves and what they think is best for us. And then her jumping out of that to show who we are as a community now, and that, we are, breaking through those types of barriers and those type of stereotypes and learnings, Western learnings. So we had this idea to do this commercial to kind of introduce into the song, so it kind of made sense and just kind of really empowered even more the empowerment within her message. And so I think it worked, and we're super proud of it. And we definitely were so excited because that we were going to have Ruby in it. So definitely jumped on board knowing that she was going to be part of this whole process. So
yeah, I love the video. It was big, like Pleasantville vibes, especially with the makeup. I thought it was really interesting that you did like the 1950s because, in contemporary sort of the way that they treat the 1950s, it's very whitewashed. It's the good old days. It's white picket fence, A-line dresses, and it's not anyone who isn't white.
absolutely.
And so I thought it was a really interesting choice.
Well, I grew up listening to 50s songs. I loved the genres and the eras and the music. I worked at a 50s car hop, right out of high school, and really appreciate the music that came along with it. But, everything sounds so bubblegum and dandy, but when you're really thinking about the struggles of people of color, that it was a mask. And so to kind of put Ella in that scenario, especially for this commercial about the skin whitening soap, and to put her in what we think is the getup, but with an homage to the Filipino, butterfly sleeve, 50s pinafore dress. Only our community would understand what she's wearing and who she really is, and can kind of see the, what the joke is. It's kind of an inside joke to us, but but I wanted it to be a mirror to everybody else. So no, I mean, and not just to everybody outside of our community, but to our community too, because there's still a lot of people who buy into that, buy into those ideals. So yeah, it's sad because whenever I think about, you know, the 50s and what people call the good old days, you're right. Like, we didn't belong there, and there would be no place for someone like me, someone like you guys. And so, you know, I wanted to see what it looked like if we were in place, but if we were there, but, you know, obviously we'd still be used as a pawn to show the rest of our community that we needed to look different than who we really were.
Absolutely. So obviously a major message with Gold is the colorism that women of color and, you know, Filipinas experience in the particular. And I was wondering if each of you might be able to kind of talk on that subject and what that kind of means to you personally. And maybe we could start with Ella.
Yeah, I think this whole project is really important to really highlight how amazing we are as a community. And I think kind of going back to what Ruby said before, this song really celebrates self-identity and not caring about these stereotypes or these barriers that Eurocentric beauty standards may put on us, because they shouldn't be important and they shouldn't affect how we live every day. So yeah, Gold as a project and as a whole, we really just wanted to inspire everybody, old generations, new generations, to really feel themselves and feel like they are welcome no matter what they look like. So yeah, that's what Gold is pretty much.
Awesome. Ruby, what were your thoughts?
For me, I'm really proud of this project because we do, offer our own kind of critical analysis or commentary on colorism through the lyrics. But I think it's even more so highlighted in the video, as Leslie was mentioning, and you all were mentioning in the introduction of it. And I think what makes it even more kind of haunting even is that this commercial is not at all different from reality. I've seen commercials like this countless of times on, Asian broadcast networks. For example, on the Filipino channel, I've seen commercials like that when I've visited the Philippines. I've seen skin whitening products all along, the grocery stores that I would shop at with my mom. And so for me, colorism has always been such a large part of, the Filipino culture that I knew growing up. I felt like it was kind of embedded even in my identity, where it never really escaped me, whether I was at a family party and I would hear some people make remarks about my skin tone or even my sister's skin tone. And now, mind you, I think I'm on the lighter spectrum of the Filipino skin tone, and my sister is considered morena. She's darker skinned, and just hearing the comparisons between her and me growing up, I definitely saw the damage that it did, psychologically, emotionally, mentally for my sister. And so it was definitely important for me that we continue this conversation, and not just conversation, but I think, specifically dismantling colorism and showing people why, things like skin whitening products, and even though they're still heavily commercialized in countries like the Philippines, why things like that should be brought up, and why they should be discussed in a way where we pretty much put our foot down and say that we don't need these things anymore. We don't need to have to fiend for Eurocentric features. We should be proud of who we are and where we come from. And just for me, I just hope that, this helps move the needle a little bit in that conversation. And I know there's countless more experiences out there for not just Filipino Americans, but I think people of color in general when it comes to colorism. And it's definitely something that I think for us members of the community, so we really need to sit down and think of ways in which we can tackle it and make sure that, the next generation doesn't have to feel like they need to put on these kinds of products anymore.
Yeah, that's an excellent sentiment. She's writing it down, so that's how you know it's a good one. So to kind of expand a little bit on something that Leslie said a little earlier, both you and Ella are role models. even if just by virtue of the fact that you are a visible public figure and that we have very little representation in the media, it's getting better, but it's still minimal. And certainly compared to the past, especially for female Filipino entertainers, how does that kind of influence your work?
It influences my work greatly. I remember when I first released my first project, Circa 91, my goal as an artist was just to tell my story, to show people who was the person behind the microphone. And when I saw the impact that it made in terms of people identifying with my experiences, people identifying with my lyrics, I think that's when I really recognized, the importance of representation and visibility, and also kind of made me come into my own as an artist and realizing that the platform or the spaces that I take up, there's significance to it. I should always be intentional with my work. And, I think we are in a great time right now where we're seeing a rise in Asian American representation. And I hope like in the next 10 years that we have a million more LJ Bascos out there. And I think we are headed in the right direction, but I think it's also going to take on, it's going to depend on all of us, coming out, showing up, and supporting the Asian American projects that come out, especially when it's geared towards, starting conversations for the community, or geared towards celebrating our identity. Because I think at the end of the day, it's always going to come down to power in numbers, with people showing us so much love with the Gold music video. And I think it's been over 100,000 views on Ella J's page alone. Seeing something like that, I think also validates us as artists and makes us realize that, people are hungry for this kind of subject matter. And, there is a space for people that look like us.
Ella, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too.
Yeah, for me personally, I think that with booking Birds of Prey and opening up my music career more, I think it was really important that I use my platform for something positive and for something good, because our community isn't represented as much as it should be. So I think it's really important that I use my voice to speak upon certain topics, and that can just be within what I write in my music. Like I have an EP, and 2 of the songs are dedicated to what my culture is about. So yeah, I just think it's really important that we continue to use our voices. And I know Ruby's really amazing at doing that, and using her platform and her music to talk about experiences that she's had in the US. And I think it's really great that we're stepping in the right direction with what we're trying to say and what justice we're trying to serve. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So what other issues sort of with the Filipino community, or just kind of in general, would you like to kind of touch on in the future, or that you think are sort of pressing at the moment socially?
I think just continuing with what beauty standards are being held in the Philippines. I know we did definitely talk about it in the beginning of the music video, but I still think it's super important to continue to talk about that, because even when we were doing all this research for Gold about the skin whitening industry and how it was most popular in the Philippines, we were also looking at how that has affected young girls' mental health and self-identity. And even if I just go to like the Japanese market in Los Angeles, I see whitening products and I see people using them, and I see, things that move your eyelids and different contraptions that really affect people's health in general. So yeah, I think just continuing the movement of fighting against the Eurocentric beauty standards and what we should really see as beautiful.
I love fun facts and not so fun facts. So could you share a little bit of what you learned doing your background research? I'm so interested.
Yeah, I mean, we researched a lot about the skin whitening industry in itself, and I didn't even know this, but there's multiple ways of doing it. There's some illegal ways, unfortunately, in the Philippines, but there's injections that you can do to internally make your skin lighter. there's creams, there's soaps that are really popular in the Philippines. And even in some Asian countries, they offer whitening lotions instead of regular lotion to use daily. And so we were learning all about that. And I was also learning about what's it called? Beauty pageant winner who was really fighting against the skin whitening industry, and to make their hair lighter, to straighten their hair, to go towards more of those Eurocentric beauty standards. So we really did a lot of research, and we just thought it was really important that we highlighted that whole topic in the music video. Oh, and the commercials, the skin whitening commercials as well. Those were extremely disturbing and super uncomfortable. Like I remember Leslie showed us one that was about a Asian girl, and she put this darker skinned guy in a washing machine, and then he came out lighter with a soap, and that was the advertisement.
He was a black man. He was a black man. It was gross. It was disgusting. It was a black man. And he came out with as a very, very white Asian man. And it was bad. I seen it years ago. And so when I was talking about all of these things with Ella and the family, and Ella's, I started just sending her all these videos because I went down a rabbit hole years ago when these started coming to surface. And she was like, she was blown away, and she was so, it's hurtful. It's so hurtful to kind of see these kinds of things, and knowing that another minority, or well, I guess they're not minorities in their own country, but putting down another race to show that there is a superior race above whatever race that they're putting down. It's really sad, but I feel that those kind of Western ideals and Western teachings have been embedded in everyone's heads, and in different communities in different countries to really find a hierarchy above each other, and I think that's been unfair, and I think it's I think it's purposeful. You don't want to think that it is, but it absolutely is, and that's why the support of people of color are not necessarily there, because everybody wants to sometimes be higher than the other. I mean, within our countries are like that, and that's when colorism, that the ideas of colorism have came to play. And hearing that word for the first time, that that kind of surfaced in the last, I want to say, 5-6 years, are we saying? I don't even think it was there 10 years ago. It struck a chord with me because I grew up being a morena as well, and my sister was the lighter one who was like really pale white, and she was the mestiza, and the mestizas are like, they just put everybody above each other, and which is so silly, and I realize that now, and I'm proud of I'm proud of my skin color, and that's why I said it was so important to see the Rubies and Ellas out there for the other young girls, to show that that those things don't matter, because guess who's telling us these things? It's our parents, it's our family, and showing this to our family was super important. And Ella, the Bascos had played this out in in Pittsburgh, in the Bay Area, for their whole community, because they played it right before they showed Fabulous Filipino Brothers, and they said that the titos and the titas were silent after the video was done, like they almost didn't know what to do with this information that was being thrown at them, and I think there might be a little bit of probably, anger that of being calling out, because no titas and titos want to be called out, but that's the mirror that we're showing. We're not trying to point anything in anybody's face. We're not trying to say somebody is wrong and to say that everybody's your fault, because we've all kind of been a part of this. I was a part of this too. I grew up in West Covina. There were a lot of Filipinos, but as soon as I saw my in with the white people, like I kind of dove in there, because I felt there's only certain spots that we can all get into, that we can have, and I feel that that's what's going on right now. And to answer your question earlier about what I feel like needs to continue the conversation in our community, is it's exactly kind of mimicking what Ruby said, is is coming together in numbers and coming together to support each other as a community all together so that we can push forward as a community, because we can't do it on our own. No one can do it on our own. And getting up there, people were trying to fight climbing that ladder to get that one spot, to be that one Filipino in the industry that can help. But we need more of those people up there to help everybody else too. And we need to fight and get up there together. And that's what I'd love to see, because that was not a thing when I was growing up at all. The hierarchy stayed there too, with class and with finances and location, and you're just like, we're not nobody, we're all together, and that's what I'd love to see more.
I think that's so interesting what you said about community, because really this is a community issue. I mean, it's something that's been perpetuated, as it's just inherent, it's pervasive. And we can have all kinds of, ideas of where did it come from? Colonialism? Did it come from, trying to adapt and assimilate? Where is this coming from? But ultimately community issues require community to address. And so no matter how active you are alone, you're only gonna be able to do so much. So I think that's really great that you're all coming together to work on, getting these into visibility, even if it does trigger somewhat uncomfortable conversations. Behind the cameras, behind the scenes, the way that you sort of portrayed Ella and Ruby and the situation in the video, what did you want to highlight? What did you want to really promote?
I wanted to promote pride. I didn't want to promote anything negative. I didn't want to promote anyone feeling sorry for themselves or having anyone feel sorry for us. I wanted to promote the community, and I wanted to promote the colors of who we are and what we can bring in any aspect in our life. And I've wanted to do this kind of projector style imagery in both like video and my photography as well. And this kind of felt like the perfect time to actually do it. And when I kind of brought it up to Ella, she fell in love with it too, and she was on it trying to get all of the moving colors. And like, she did so much research on just imagery, and she's the one that found all those the clippings. And that's our little Ella J, that she found all of those. And but it kind of shows who her influences and who's been what she's paying attention to, and that's inspiring to me. So kind of having again that juxtaposition of going from that black and white and jumping into this world of color and just being happy in that color. And when you see Ella dancing in it and she's just so proud, it just makes you, it's a chill song. It's not like this one where you're gonna bust out into some hip hop dances, but you just see how happy she was, and you want to move with her, and you want to sing with her, and that's what I want. I was hoping that every girl, every Pinay, every woman of color, every boy, every every non-binary, anybody who can connect to this piece would feel and would connect with it, and seeing Ella look at Ruby in this this giant projection of her on this one day. And that was actually all an accident. We were supposed to shoot them both in one day, and because of work, Ruby was not able to fly down. So I had this idea of kind of just throwing Ruby up there during the whole projection portion. And it really made me go into another idea of all these colors and the spinning around kind of ideas. What we did up north, we kind of took the whole crew and brought it up north so that we could really get Ruby in it, because obviously she was important to have in the video in person, and not just as a projection. But seeing that one moment where Ella looks at Ruby while she's just kind of doing her thing, just like it shows the progression of who we can look to support us and it showed that Ruby had her back, and that was so important. And I hope this video shows that Ruby and Ella and us and everyone involved. It was a whole Filipino, Asian American crew, from top to bottom, be above and below the line and behind the scenes and in post. Like, through and through, and we were so proud that we could make that happen, and it was very important for us to make that happen. So that everybody is supporting all our community out there, and that's what it was all about.
That is an amazing, that is an amazing accomplishment. Like, kudos, absolutely. So great.
I love that. And it hit it even more home for me, seeing the family photos, the family videos, and the inclusion of that too, because that just like brings it again back to like family, to the community, to us supporting each other, to us working together for that future. Like, y'all have the dynasty, and that's really it. And you're uplifting Filipinas, mestizas everywhere. And yeah, that was my like.
We had mestizas in our crew too. We have mestizas in our crew too.
He's a mafia anyway. Ruby, I wanted to ask you a little question. As a performer, I think a lot of times, and kind of just as a person of color, as a woman of color, the world kind of puts a projection on how they expect you to act or how they expect you to kind of present yourself. And I really enjoyed like seeing you all look like you were having a lot of fun, like working on this project, getting out something that was really important, but also, you know, it's a vibe, like it's chill, it's enjoyable on its own. So you know, have you had kind of difficulty getting to where you can kind of portray yourself the way you want to be portrayed?
First, I want to note that it was definitely a vibe on set. I'm just super fortunate that Ella J, the entire Basco family, Leslie, everyone that was involved made it such an inclusive and safe space so that when I arrived on set, it felt like family, it felt like community. And it was always collaborative, you know, from the moment that we were writing the lyrics to the end of the music video, the whole thing was collaborative and, you know, really, again, supporting each other. And to answer your question, if it's been challenging to be myself at this point of my career so far, you know, on one hand, you know, I don't think I'll ever escape, you know, those kind of doubts, those self-doubts or those comparisons. I think that's, you know, part of human nature, and especially what's portrayed on not just, you know, on film and in the mainstream nowadays, but also social media. I think, you know, social media definitely plays a large part for women of color or young girls to kind of sometimes question themselves and ask themselves, am I where I'm supposed to be at? Do I look how I'm supposed to be? Will I be accepted? You know, these are all questions that I'm sure are raised in a lot of women's, you know, minds. And for me, I'm just very fortunate. I think when I think about how I've been comfortable in my own skin, I think a lot of that is due to the fact that I've had such a great supportive system around me, whether it was my partner, my mom, my family, collaborators. I'm very lucky that the people that I've worked with, and especially, you know, Leslie and Ella J, I've never felt like I've had to compromise my voice or change who I was or change my perspective. It's always been kind of open to me being me and being 100% authentic about it. One thing I do want to note, I think it would be remiss of me to not mention, is imposter syndrome is still such a very real thing. You know, especially, you know, being women of color, you know, thinking that we don't belong or we don't deserve to be part of in certain spaces. And I think at the end of the day, whenever I feel, you know, that imposter syndrome, like hanging onto my back and making me doubt myself, I think what I just have to, or what I've learned to realize is I just have to take a step back and just remember why I do what I do in the first place. And when I ask myself that, and I know the answer, it's to tell my story, to be myself, to do this for my family. When I have those answers, and when I answer that question, it makes me realize that, you know what, at the end of the day, the greatest accomplishment that I can make is to be myself. And whatever comes from that, whatever outcome, whatever is received on the other end, you know, that's already outside of my boundaries. That's already outside of my control. So as long as I'm 100% authentically me, I think that will always be my mission. Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute. Cat.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, imposter syndrome is actually part of our ShoPowSho bingo card because it comes up so often as sort of a Filipino experience, not even just a Filipino American experience, just across the board. We all seem to think that somehow we're not good enough, but we are, and that's wonderful. Ella, what were kind of your thoughts about authenticity and performance?
Yeah, I think growing up, I was so fortunate to be raised by really powerful, strong, independent women who have told me like continuously to not care about any stereotypes or to not care about what stereotypes are being put on me. So everything that I've been saying and everything that I show in the music video is super authentic and real because truly I do feel like I don't give a crap about what they say about my skin or what they say about who I am. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely, same with Ruby, I've definitely had challenges growing up and I still do being a teenager of having insecurities and not feeling like I specifically belong based off of social media and all of these things. But going back and seeing the legacy that we're making and the community that we are in, I could totally tell that we're moving in the right direction and that I don't have to feel these sort of insecurities because of what I've been creating and what Ruby's been creating and what we're doing as a community. So
Hell yeah, I love that. So I wanted to drop in because I have a question. But first, I wanted to give a shout out again, like you all were saying, the amazing AAPI fam that you had working on this project. So shout out to my Filipinx actors, Barkada and Andrea Walter, who you had as your DP. Shout out to Bianca Katbagan, who y'all had on as photographer, and AJ Calamay, who you had on the editing team, because those are friends of mine as well. I love seeing my people, my friends shine. So I wanted to give them a shout out. I wanted to talk about, as from the male side, I know your brother Daryl, Ella, helped you write this project. I want to know, as your Panay brothers, what can we do? And I know your brothers helped Shine to help give some light with this. You know, I want to know what I can do from the male perspective in any way. I know we just got to do it on ourselves. We can't ask y'all in a way, but I know I did just ask that, what can we do? But, you know, what would you like to see us do? You know what I'm saying? Without telling us
in a
what to do.
perfect world, right?
Yeah. Because, you know, we love y'all. I love y'all. So shout out to Daryl, though. Shout out to Daryl.
Yeah, shout out to my brother Daryl. I think when he came onto he's been my writing partner from day one. So he's kind of known in my experiences and collectively what we've been going through as a whole and as in the Asian American community. But I mean, he really took it from his perspective as well of kind of feeling insecure and not feeling like they belong. But I mean, in general, I think, you know, the men in our community can really just support and help promote this whole movement that we're trying to get across, because again, it is such a communal effort to try and move the needle. So I think, of course, women of color should obviously promote this self-empowerment and love. But I mean, even the men in our community, that self-identity and feminism and loving who they are can really just help promote the general idea. So yeah.
Please, go right ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to that because I'm a huge advocate of also of redefining masculinity, and you know that is an issue that we've had in our culture. You know, kind of came from the Philippines as well, and I mean it's a world thing, you know, issue that we've been dealing with, especially as women. And you know, I'm doing a couple. I have one docuseries that I've been in the mix of doing, and it focuses on the Filipino American experience with a focus on with a what do you call it? A look into the 80s and 90s in Filipino gangs and what that meant and how that had affected our community, and why, you know, we got into it and why did we get out. But a lot of that has to do with masculinity and toxic masculinity. A lot of it has to do with, majority of it has to do with toxic masculinity and proving to be who they are, and especially our men and our Pinoys. I'm raising a Pinoy myself, and it had been very important to me the moment he was born, because I understand how society and the world looks at the Asian man. And I didn't want him to ever think that he had something to prove. I never wanted him to think that he was less than, or because of X, Y, and Z. So it had been a mission of mine to make sure that he knows and appreciates the ideas of feminism. Because, feminism being that we are all equal, so that he understands and knows that there's nothing to prove, so that toxicity will be erased. And then also, as an Asian man, to be proud of who he is and don't let society tell him otherwise. So I think it's a two-way support, because a lot of women, sometimes can put down the Asian man too. And I don't like that. And so that support needs to go both ways, definitely. So I just had to kind of put my 2 cents about our Asian brothers and our Pinoy brothers, because I think it's important for us to remember to support their growth and remind them who we are and that we are strong. But without our men being, we can be, show feminism and spew it out and be, teach our girls to be as strong as they want, but without our boys on board, there's not a whole lot where we can go. So we just all have to be, come together on that aspect. So that's all I just want to add.
Yeah, you're here. So you mentioned the docu-series. My follow-up question is, what can we look forward to seeing in the future from all of you?
Leslie, you can go first.
Yes, please.
I'm part of a film company, production company with my husband and my sister, Danny De Jesus, and my husband, Kevin Alejandro, called Alejandro Films. This is our office. And, we do work, because my husband is Mexican and we are Filipino. We do work on trying to bring those voices to the forefront, in front of and behind the camera, and in the stories that we create. And trying to give that aspects. And we're fortunate enough to understand our stories a little bit more, just because, we are the Latinos of Asia. And so we've got a docuseries coming up, another limited series about from a, Latinx standpoint. Lots of things coming up in the works, but if you go to alejandrofilms.com, you can kind of see the things that we're working on as well. So that's on our part. That's on my part.
Awesome. Thank you. Ella, what do we have to look forward to?
I have a lot of things in the work. I just recently came out with a music video for my song Miss Popularity, which is also about like self-identity. And the music video is not much to do with that. It's really about feeling yourself and dancing and having fun. But yeah, I also have more. Oh, my mom is giving me notes, but yeah, I directed the music video as well. And so I'm working on more music as well. I'm working on more songs and singles and different things like that. And there are also a bunch of theatrical projects that I have in the works that I can't really talk about, but they're definitely there. So yeah, there's a bunch more to come from me. So just stay tuned on all of my social medias at Basco.
We will. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Ruby, what do we got?
For me, I was just at the Tribeca Film Festival this past weekend. I'll be starring in a film called Asking for It, which we're hoping for a theatrical release later this year. I'll be doing music for an upcoming Fox series called The Cleaning Lady, and also working on my sophomore album that I'm looking to release at some point this fall as well. But I also wanted to note, currently I co-founded a scholarship program called Panay's Rising, and we're still open for submissions. So applicants that are specifically self-identifying Filipina students who are attending or going to be enrolling in institutions of higher learning, we'll be giving away $500 financial aid to, I think, about 10 students this year. So if for more information, check out panaisrising.org.
Great. And any other, how would they find you on social media?
I'm at Ruby Ibarra across all social media platforms.
Hell yes. All right. Yo, we because we have a little bit of time left. I just want to again, salamat. All y'all, maraming salamat. Y'all, man, I'm just jazzed right now. Y'all, I can't tell y'all how pumped I am. Thank you for sharing the story of Gold. Thank you for Gold. Thank you for just everything that y'all are in raising and uplifting our community. And would love to show light and love to all of those future projects that y'all just discussed that y'all have coming up. Definitely want to show love in regards to that, and have y'all back on and talk your stories. This was just amazing. Thank you for being part of our ShoPowSho 50, y'all. Definitely.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Definitely.
so much.
Appreciate y'all. Boom. There you go. Ruby Ibarra, Leslie Alejandro, Ella J. Basco, Gold, y'all. ShoPowSho 50. Kat, Tina, yeah, I'll play the background because y'all did an amazing job. I'm rambling. I don't know what to say. I love y'all so much. Man, I'm about to cry because now I'm
50
starting to
episodes,
get
we
emo
like
again.
Gold, right? That was like we got our own.
Yes.
Yo,
And
50
I
episodes,
just
y'all.
again, to touch back on that, like we're celebrating Pride. Like Pride, the reason why we started the ShoPowSho was to explore our Filipino heritage, was to celebrate our Filipino heritage, and was to find our own pride and our own stake in it. And 50 episodes in, and I feel that. I feel nothing but pride. And I really appreciated just the talk and the back and forth on this episode, because it also raised a whole lot of like cognitive dissonance in myself, because again, I am mestiza. I am only half Filipino.
Yeah.
And I've grown up being praised and be like, oh wow, you're so pretty. And it's like, I'm pretty because I don't look Filipino. And then I feel like I can't claim Filipino because I don't look Filipino. But then it's like, well, you're, you know what I mean? See,
Oh, totally. It's so true.
I can't even like,
Nah, I'm with you on that, because it makes us develop more of that imposter syndrome that you also brought up. Like it's such a weird, fucked up reality in that they are doing to us by saying shit like that.
No, it's like being mestiza makes you the best Filipino, but also not Filipino at all.
Yes.
So like by being the best, you're like outside the Filipino experience. It's bullshit. I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm with you, girl.
That itself, and we've been talking about
that's
this
an
from
episode.
Episode 1, that is going to be a whole episode, and we are going to fully unpack all of that, because
gorgeous.
Again,
I love it.
That is
gonna be dirty.
One big issue, and it's going to be hella dirty. Like there is going to be dirt, but I wanted to touch briefly on it because that's what was raised in me.
Mm-hmm.
But the purveying feeling coming away from that is pride, and coming off of this 50th episode is pride. And to quote my fabulous Filipina sister here, our Filipino experience is a Filipino experience because we are Filipino. Our experiences are a Filipino experience. We are not a monolith. You are not invalidated because you are not Filipino enough. That is a myth. So welcome to the ShoPowSho. This is what we
Y'all gonna make me cry again. Like I said, I was listening to this track earlier today. I'm brown and I'm proud. Dripped in gold, like and just Ella's smooth voice, and then Ruby comes in to deliver the lines, like tears, seriously, like I'm so proud that at least the next generation will have this for them, and what we're doing with this show, they'll have this. That's why I wanted to do this for my daughter. Like, when they see this later, like, here's that content that we didn't get, and so we're creating that content. And man, I'm so proud of y'all. I can't thank y'all, and I love y'all so much, man. Right now, I'm starting to feel it. I'm getting rambled in my words. It's just like, man, we did this, we did that, and we have so much coming up. And like in regards to this subject as well, I haven't talked to y'all about this, but I booked Asia Jackson. She's a huge influencer who is half black, half Filipino, and is, you know, has a line called Skin Fluencer that talks about, you know, being a morena in regards to this whole aspect of things. Because they're and I think Leslie had brought it up, you know, that isn't getting, you know, enough light in that regard. Oh man, we have Dino Ray Ramos from Diaspora who's going to talk from Variety. He was on Variety Night as Diaspora. We have Jeremiah Abraham from Tremendous Communications coming up. We've got, you know what? I'm gonna keep some of these other names in the wraps. But just a little bit, just a little touch we got coming up. It's so amazing. I can't wait for the next 50, and I'm so honored and blessed to have y'all as partners doing this and just telling our stories to the world. And this was another great one with some greats, and we're gonna have all them back too. I can't wait to have them to tell their individual stories and their amazingness, because there's so much more to say. I know that as we all just saw, that they have to tell as well. So 50, y'all, we did it. So much fun. Yo, let's wrap this up, because I'm gonna go cry now, because I'm so proud and I love y'all so much. How can they reach out to us and tell us what they want to see and all of that? Let's throw them out our socials. Tina, hit us off.
I am Viva Valentina. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at viva.valentina, or on Twitter and chess.com at Viva Valentina XO.
I'm Kataphorric. You can find me at Kataphorric on Twitter or Instagram, also on TikTok. We also have our ShoPowSho TikTok. And for a little more behind the scenes, you can follow us on Patreon or just buy us a coffee.
Yes. Thank y'all. As always, I love y'all so much. Your boy Kuya P. You can follow me at Strange Since 1977, as well as at Temple Far East. Over at the NRW, also at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. And of course, at the Nerds of Color, where we give you pop culture from the POC's perspective, which is the home of the ShoPowSho. And hey, I just jumped onto TikTok because I just needed to add another social. I wanted to be like Kat and Tina and have a TikTok and, you know, maybe do some other shit. And I'm the legend Kuya P. I don't know why I did the legend. I don't know. I'm trying to become a legend, I guess. I don't know. Love y'all. Follow us all. We love y'all. Mahakita. Salamat.
Mahakita din.
Boom. Episode 50, y'all. We did it.
Hey.
I'm brown and I'm proud, yeah, yeah. I'm brown and I'm proud, yeah, yeah. I'm brown and I'm proud, yeah, yeah. I'm brown and I'm proud. I'm brown and I'm proud.
Introduce y'all, and then I'm actually gonna pass it to the Ates to kind of lead this, because I want my Panay beautiful sisters to shine today. I want this totally repping y'all and this empowerment, because I think it's so beautiful and it's so inspiring, and I can't wait for my daughter to see this when she gets a little bit older, to just really appreciate this beautifulness that we have going on. So love y'all so much. Mahakita. All right, let's go there. I'm gonna put it on speak review. I'm gonna bring y'all in and we're gonna have some fun. All right, come back to me. Recording check 1 2 1 2. All right, yo.